Welcome to link 7, which is feeling tones. Feeling tones are awfully juicy. They serve as a kind of glue between the body and the mind. The immediate, wordless response to sensation. They show up like, ah, ah, ah. They're felt right in that moment before there are words or stories to go with it. Feeling comes before emotion. We're getting very specific about just that short little appearance. And what we notice about feeling tones is that they operate on a spectrum from unpleasant to neutral to pleasant. In our video game metaphor, this is where the game gives feedback. Consider when the player takes an action. Maybe they gain points, they lose points, or nothing happens. The game world is giving the player feedback and the sense that there is a proper or improper path to tread. Gain points, happy sound, lose points, sad sound, but there's feedback in some way now. Feeling tone works in a similar way. A sensation arises, and before we even have a story about it, there's an immediate body-mind response. Pleasant to neutral to unpleasant. And I think of this as a range from -10 to 0 to +10, or +10 to 0 to -10. So the most pleasant experiences in life would be a +10 and the most unpleasant would be a -10. Unpleasant or negative is some version of I don't like this, and pleasant being some version of I like this. Neutral feeling tones are more that I don't have much of a feeling about this. But that doesn't mean that neutral doesn't have any energy to it. Because oftentimes, if there is no feeling tone, we will feel slightly unsettled and will want to move into some other kind of feeling. The mind doesn't want to sit with neutral for very long much of the time. So it's not that there are 3 kinds of feeling tones. It's that there's a spectrum of them, from very pleasant to a little pleasant to not feeling much at all, to slightly unpleasant or deeply unpleasant. And this link matters because this is where we notice what our pre-existing preferences are. Feeling tone is a reaction to the sensations and the filters that we are experiencing reality through. So how does this show up for us? Well, we tend to have a negativity bias, which means that we tend to notice unpleasant feeling tones more easily. Going by our point system of -10 to +10, even a -2 is usually pretty easy for us to notice. Like a slight itch. Oh, I don't like that. That bothered me. Or that felt off. Or the vibes are off. But it often takes a stronger, pleasant feeling tone for us to even notice it. You know, there's a lot of small, pleasant moments that pass by without even being noticed. And neutral feeling tones go unnoticed altogether. But feeling tones are happening in every single moment. A sound appears and there may be an instant little internal response of, ah, even a very light like or dislike of the sound that we're hearing. In every moment, sensations are arising in the body that are pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant. When thoughts arise, those thoughts have a body-mind character to them. A thought about something we like may carry a subtle, pleasant feeling tone. A thought about something we don't like will carry a slightly unpleasant feeling tone. Our lives are being shaped by this in every moment, but we often aren't sensitive enough to pick it up. So much of our feeling goes unnoticed and often repressed, dissociated, forgotten, or ignored, which continues to repeat the links as a cycle over and over. This can make our lives feel like we're a pinball getting bounced around and we don't know why. A sound happens, bounce. A thought happens, bounce. A sensation happens, bounce, bounce, bounce. And for the most part, we're not even seeing the little feeling tones that are shaping the direction of all of this movement. We may also have gotten very used to discarding these feeling tones or shoving them down, so we don't even notice that we're having them. But they're still operating. Let's look at an example in everyday life. Hearing a sound. You hear a sound, and there may be an immediate feeling of liking it or not liking it. But even that depends on context. In one moment, maybe the sound of your pet, right on cue, is sweet or funny. But in another moment, if you're trying to get some work done, like filming a video course, it may carry a slightly different feeling tone. The sound is effectively the same sound, but the feeling tone that arises may be different depending on the context. The same thing happens with physical bodily sensations. A sensation may show up as discomfort, pain, pleasure, warmth, pressure, ease, tension, and the feeling tone around that sensation depends a lot on the conditions. It depends on what we're doing. It depends on what we want in that moment. It depends on what we're afraid of. Muscle tension at the gym feels a lot different than muscle tension when we're sitting down watching Netflix. For example, I have a lot of tattoo work. The feeling tone that I experienced when getting the tattoos, even though there was a lot of pain, is still a positive feeling tone because getting the tattoos was exciting. But if I were randomly feeling the same pain just in the grocery store, that same physical sensation would generate a very negative feeling tone and probably a lot of distress. So this shows us how much we carry into each situation, our preferences, habits, assumptions, and past conditioning. Thoughts work this way too. A thought appears, and it won't show up as just some neutral mental object. It has a flavor. A thought about something we want may feel pleasant. A thought about something threatening may feel unpleasant. A thought about something boring may feel neutral, but then the mind may start looking for stimulation. This is where we can begin to notice how feeling tones are quietly guiding us all day long. So how do we get trapped by this link? We get trapped when feeling tones reinforce the patterns we already have. They strengthen what we already like and don't like. They build on the existing framework and conditioning that we carry into each moment. And much of the time, we don't question it. We just keep feeling the same kinds of responses over and over again, and then letting those responses shape what happens next. The experience gets shaped by habit instead of open curiosity, joy, and mindfulness. A feeling tone arises, and the chain continues moving. Unpleasant becomes resistance. Pleasant becomes wanting more. Neutral becomes boredom or the search for stimulation. That's how feeling tone can become binding. But this link can also be freed. In the freed version, we notice feeling, as just information or energy. We might simply see, oh, I'm feeling a certain way about this. We regard it with curiosity and simply see it as, that's interesting. But we don't have to make a whole story out of it. We can see it as a raw response akin to sensation. This means that oftentimes we can cut the chain right here if we notice it. Oh, there's a feeling about this showing up. Got it. And instead of letting that feeling become a whole narrative, we allow wisdom and discernment to come in. An unpleasant feeling can be felt without becoming a problem. A pleasant feeling can be felt without needing more. A neutral feeling can be felt without seeking stimulation. The feelings still show up. The difference is that we are open to just feeling them, to experience them fully. Part of the shift is that we notice the feeling tone without building on top of it so quickly. It's just feeling, information. It's just the body-mind registering pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. And keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with feelings. We need to feel them completely. When functioning clearly, they help guide us, anchor us, and stay on the right track. The issue is when the feelings are a response to something partial or inaccurate. We develop neurosis, anxiety, and other issues when we're having feelings centered around our own individualistic perspective rather than zooming out. To practice this, see if you can notice small moments of feeling tone throughout the day. Start with sensations. Something appears in awareness, and just notice if there's a coloring that shows up. See if you can notice if it leans into a feeling of pleasant, unpleasant, or nothing. The practice is just noticing feeling and feeling it. Keep this from becoming a mind exercise. This is where we get caught in thought loops. So notice if you're labeling it too heavily or over-analyzing it. Just come back to the present. Don't make something out of it. Certainly don't make it mean something about you. It's just a feeling tone that's happening. You might notice if there's a little pull in some direction, a pull towards or away, any amount of some desire, notice that. If something painful shows up, it may be easy to notice the unpleasant feeling. Notice the pain. Notice the unpleasantness. Notice that there's a certain kind of energy to it. You may not have to do anything with it right away. Just feel the feeling tone as feeling tone. For neutral feeling tone, see if you can notice that too. Notice when nothing much seems to be happening. Notice if the mind wants something stronger, something more entertaining, whether pleasant or unpleasant. That's part of the practice too. So let's sit together and explore feeling tone directly. Open attention wide to take in all of your experience. Start with sensations. Or the breath. If you feel a sensation in the body, just notice if there's any immediate reactions that show up to it. You might catch a bit of a ripple effect that the sensation, whether an in-breath or some kind of movement in the body, it's like a drop in the ocean that creates ripples. And the first ripple is a feeling tone. And if not in the body, notice if a thought shows up. What kind of feeling tone accompanies it? Maybe a subtle judgment? If something like that shows up, do you notice the negative feeling tone that it carries with it? Where in the body do you then feel that feeling tone? The feeling tone will ripple throughout the entire body. There's usually going to be some spot, some area where it's localized. As you sit, notice if you find any tension. Let the tension drop and see what kind of a pleasant feeling tone shows up with that. Do you notice a light, pleasant feeling tone there? Okay, so as you go through your day, just cast a net to notice whatever feeling tones you catch. Don't go on the hunt for them. The practice is not about hunting for them, because that's now making it an exercise of the mind. We just want to notice it. So just have a little net hanging out, waiting to catch them, so we can become more sensitive to notice more of our experience. We're doing this with mindfulness and curiosity, an exploration of what it means to be alive. So thank you for your practice. Thank you for joining me. And I'll see you next time in Link 8.